The Simulation Football League presents The Kramer Show. Your non-stop SFL action begins now.
Thank you once again, Mike Daggs, for, of course, a lovely introduction to The Kramer Show. I'm Kramer Sansone. Thank you for tuning in we are in. Crazy to think about it. We are in the postseason. Like, SFL postseason is right here, right? Of course, Denver's not in. I'm the general manager of Denver, also the kicker, the best kicker in the league. Yeah, we're not in, and it sucks, but we are in the SFL postseason territory, and we have some stuff to get into. My prediction, I'm not saying it's my prediction to win the entire thing, so I'll wait a little bit after this week, then I'll actually make my official prediction. Yeah, I should have already did that already. But it's okay, because I know what I'm doing here on the Kramer Show. Because, I mean, this is my show. My name's in it, so it is A-okay. But let's get into what we usually do every single week. The first thing we start off with, I apologize for the lighting issue. It's not the greatest right now. I'm trying to figure some things out. Bear with me. Once we get things going and rolling into the right direction, we're all back and healthy in the United States, and I guess work options start picking up things. Okay, I'm rambling way too much. Come on, Rich Pressure, what is it?
The recap of the week.
So the Baltimore Vultures outperformed the New Orleans Pharaohs 48-27. Seattle Tyrants win their last game ever in Seattle against the Houston Hyenas 37-24. Chicago Wildcats keep winning as they defeat London Knights 44-21. Mexico City Aztecs win in a scenario which worked in their favor as they defeated the Florida Storm 24-16. Charleston Predators stay hot, beating Tulsa Desperados 27-10. St. Louis Gladiators made the playoffs by beating the Carolina Skyhawks 31-13. Queen City Corsairs were too much for the Arizona Scorpions as they won 19-10. Las Vegas wins, but they lose, defeating Atlanta Swarm 37-21. Sioux Falls Sparrows destroyed the Vancouver Legion 37-13, and the Jacksonville Kings buried the Denver Nightwings 41-14. Great action of SFL. A lot of tensions was going on as everybody was thinking Las Vegas was going to make it into the playoffs. Of course, they did not. That's why even said that they lost, even though they won against Atlanta. Tremendous victory for them to defeat Atlanta, the number one team in the SFL. You just got to applaud yourself right there because that is a big feat for itself, making sure they have 2 losses on the season. Very shocked to see Vancouver squander away that 2 seed in the SFL playoffs because you need that. A bye week is very crucial what's coming to this point of the season. St. Louis making, which is amazing. Chicago staying red hot as usual. I know they lost a few games. Yes, they limped into the playoffs, so it's okay. They still made it. They defeated London. And it was sad to see, not really sad, it was sad to see a team win their last game, applaud to their fans for saying thank you for this the journey, the 2 seasons that they were with. They were in Seattle, now they're moving on. So the recap of the week was bittersweet.
Players of the week.
Now, the offensive player of the week, Chicago Wildcats, Liam Hammer, 9 catches for 241 yards and 3 touchdowns. Huge reason why that they defeated the London Knights 44-21. And, I mean, Liam Hammer has had 7 touchdowns in 2 weeks. This is a red-hot receiver that's making his impact known before postseason starts. Who knows? This guy might go off on a huge streak in this postseason and might end up bringing Chicago a championship. Well, I guess we'll have to see when the time does come. As the defensive player of the week, we'll skip over the special teams, as the St. Louis Gladiators, Evan Arthur had 4 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and one of those touchdowns was a 92-yard pick 6. So if you had a pick 6 in 2 of them, you know for a fact you are in line for that defensive player of the week, and this is one of the big reasons why they routed the Carolina Skyhawks 31-13. Special teams player of the week goes to London Knights. Gabriel Manning had 9 kick returns for a total of 310 yards. And one of those kick returns was a 104-yard touchdown. So I would assume if Chicago had 44 kicks, 44 points, that ended up alluding to having some kicks, of course. You got punts, you get the kickoffs. So you know for a fact Gabriel Manning had 9 chances to at least get a score, and he ended up using one of those, which is good. You want to see these players. There's a lot of scores are going to be happening against your opponent. You know for a fact your kick returner is going to have a good chance of getting a touchdown, say, off of a kick return, or if he's even the punt returner as well, he'll have a chance of also getting the punt return for a touchdown. So you know for a fact if you have all these lined up in fruition, it's going to happen. So those are your special teams player of the week, your offensive player of the week, and your defensive player of the week for the dreadful Week 12, because it was the heartbreaking Week 12. So before we get into what's trending, I want to talk a little bit about playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yes, the playoffs and all the scenarios and what happened for. But the biggest playoff thing, I just want to talk about is the playoff snub, and that was the Las Vegas Fury, who had the same record as St. Louis, Mexico City, but their strength of victory was not in their favor. Yes, you beat Atlanta Swarm, and it took you that night knowing that, hey, we won, we have a great chance of actually making the playoffs this season, and then you get the notification from Cam saying Las Vegas has been eliminated. And it's just a sad thing to just think of, oh, okay, we did all this entire season, and now we are just getting not ransacked, but saying, hey, you didn't make the playoffs. And it's just oh no, you did all this, and it gives hope to some teams, but teams don't really flourish and actually win the next game, as I'm cough Denver. But I think Las Vegas had a great season. I know there's some of the games that they should have won that they lost, especially too low. They at least should have had at least 2 wins of, I guess, teams that are in the higher, or that were supposed to be projected into the actual playoffs, but it never happened that way. So it was sad to see that Las Vegas did not make it in, especially with the incredible season they had, but there's always next season. They finished 500 on the season, which is not a bad thing to accomplish. But St. Louis, Mexico City had the better strength of victory, and it wasn't in Las Vegas' favor. So my playoff underdog is St. Louis Gladiators. Yes, I'm going to be a St. Louis Gladiators fan thick and thin through this playoffs, and it's just it's just what I think is going to happen. Their first time ever in the playoffs here in the SFL. So you got to go with the underdog here. Nobody thought this team would make it this far. I know for a fact I didn't, but the fact that they have a rookie quarterback who's leading the charge of Johnny Pickler, and he's pretty much the mic that is the voice of reason for St. Louis. So that's why I believe this team is well-rounded to compete, because they have their quarterback for once. They do. They have that running back with Diesel Dawson. That defense is at times lights out. So you cannot count out the St. Louis Gladiators at all. So that's why they're my playoff underdog. A team that I am concerned for. Yes, there is one team I am very concerned for, and that's the Vancouver Legion. They have lost 3 games in a row, and 2 of those 3 they should have actually won. They were very beatable teams, and Houston Hyenas and the Denver Nightwings. They should have beat them. That's why them losing to Sioux Falls was huge, because they could have had a first-round bye, like I alluded to earlier. Vancouver is on the verge of not winning this game against Jacksonville, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. We'll have to get later on to the Who You Got section, but you have to be concerned if you're the Vancouver Legion. I love every single person on that team. I do. But you got to get the thing in gear. The Bash Brothers are awesome. Suda Nakai, I'll get a little bit into him a little bit later. But that is the team I'm concerned for. Now, the surprise team to win it all this season, I say, is the Charleston Predators. I love this defense. They're first in points allowed, only giving up 202. They're first in passing yards allowed, and they've only given about at least 212 yards per game. They average giving up 16 points, closer to 17, and they are a very good defense. They're the number 1 ranked defense in the SFL. I believe defense wins championships. We've seen that in years past with Alaska. You saw that with Denver last year. And now the defensive team that's coming into this, that's just a lockdown defensive team. If they're at home, they are not losing. Yes, I know they're on the road in the opening week. So Charleston, you got to bring that defensive game-minded set. Offense needs to wake up a little bit, but you got to know that this defense in Charleston is my surprise team to win it all. Now let's go to the MVP race. I believe it's only down to 2 people right now, just 2. And we could have, just saying, we could have had back-to-back MVPs due to, close to a 2,000-yard performance this year. But we all know that's not going to happen because of what has happened in SFL in his, retirement speech. But the two people I believe that would actually make it is Marcus Dunhill, who has 29 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 3,402 yards, has a QBR rating of 105, which I'm not a quarterback, but that sounds amazing, and it's something I would have, especially going to that 29 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, throwing over 3,400 yards. He's the reason why Atlanta is 8-2. Atlanta's good with Marcus throwing the pitch to everybody. Other one is Suda Nakai, 17 touchdowns, 1,530 yards. He's averaging 7 yards per carry. There's no reason why this running back should not be even mentioned. He needs to be mentioned in the MVP type caliber race. I don't know how the voting's going to happen this year. If I even get a vote, I'm pretty sure we all get a vote, but it's just all down to whoever they're going to have to select the, there's at least, say if it's a multiple choice question, it's, who's going to win the MVP? Got, I don't know, Marcus Dunhill, Suda Nakai, Kramer Jackman. You know what I mean. You pick those in there. So, these two guys' names should be on that MVP chart list. And, of course, you know for a fact, Rookie of the Year this year is going to be Johnny Pickler. And I hope he's going to kick back with the championship in mind of the SFL while drinking his glass of champagne. Let's hope that does happen for Johnny Pickler. I think he'll win the Rookie of the Year, no, without a doubt. Or Leah Dahman. Leah Dahman's having an amazing season. But let's get into other things, such as what, Rich Pratchard?
What's trending?
All right, so speaking of Marcus Dunhill, he was promoted to Director of Player Personnel, and doing so, he will have to retire to fill the role, which means the quarterback position in Atlanta is open. So first off, I want to say congratulations to you, Marcus Dunhill, for getting to the Director of Player Personnel. It's a huge accomplishment. It sucks that you have to go away from the actual on-the-field spot, but if things don't work out in the DPP role, I'm assuming you can always come back and keep your player. I know for a fact you can keep your player, but the fact you have to retire, amazing season. It'll be a cherry on the top if you actually go out as SFL champion. So congratulations once again to Marcus Dunhill. Seattle, after 2 seasons, will be moving back to the Lone Star State. Yes, because they were the Dallas Lobos, and they moved to Seattle, and now 2 seasons in, now they're moving back to Texas. So, Seattle, moving back, joint ownership between Wally Herman and Charles Dougherty, moving them to Denton, Texas, in the northwest corner of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So, we got more football in Texas. But if there were some expansion teams that were trying to get into Texas, I highly doubt it's going to happen now with 2 teams back in Texas. So, congratulations to Charles and Wally for getting this job done. I've heard some sources of getting that team there, and very impressive. I know out of the background of Wally Herman, the dude's a genius getting things going quick, and he's on it. He's on it. Wally Herman, one of the I'm going to say one of the best owners we're going to have here for some time in the SFL. Over in London, the Knights promoted Agus McElwain to team president. So congratulations. I guess it's a little shout-out section for these three things on what's trending. But let's get to the section where I'm going not break down everything, but it is...
Who you got? Playoffs?
Yeah, so let's start off with the number nine team in the SFL, St. Louis Gladiators, take on the number 8 Chicago Wildcats. And I'm sorry, Liam Hammer, you're amazing the past 2 weeks, but the St. Louis Gladiators are going to defeat the Chicago Wildcats on the road. It's already been a little bit trash talk between some Wildcats players to Johnny Pickler, which is always great, always welcome. It's the nice friendly banter, the trash talk is what always works. Nothing out of the too obscured scene type of using some choice words. No, these guys are very professional in their trash talking. But I'm taking St. Louis Gladiators over the Chicago Wildcats. Going on the next, number 10 Mexico City Aztecs taking on the number 7 Queen City Corsairs. Give me Queen City for this one. Number 6 Charleston Predators taking on the number 3 Sioux Falls Sparrows. Even though the Predators are on the road, I still think the defense is going to outperform the Sioux Falls Sparrows. Even though Sioux Falls did beat Vancouver at home, so we'll have to see on that one. Sioux Falls is a really dominant team, I'm not going to lie. But I'm taking Charleston Predators for this one. Number 5, Jacksonville Kings versus the Vancouver Legion. Give me Jacksonville. Jacksonville's way too hot right now. Vancouver's way too cold. So that mix is, let's stick with right at the hot team, and that's what's going to happen. So Jacksonville Kings defeating Vancouver Legion. So 3 road teams are going to win this week, which is going to cause a little bit of chaos, which we always love. Chaos is what we get, what we wanted. That's exactly what we got in week 12. But it's going to travel on into the playoffs, and that's what's going to happen. So, as I said, St. Louis, Queen City, Charleston, and Jacksonville are going to win. That will do it here for this edition of the Kramer Show. I hope you all liked it. Please, 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 if you made it this far, at least put a like on this bad boy. If you made it this far, you're probably not even understanding what I'm even talking about right now. So, just saying, please be safe. Wash your hands. Let's all make a great comeback and make things happen to where our lives will go back to normal, because it's been a strange month. Let's hope April and the SFL brings more joy to everybody there in the home. So this is a family thing. This is what we all enjoy, like kicking back, watching some football. But of course, there's more things that are more important to this world. So let's just all be safe. Please wash your hands. Keep that social distancing up. And just from the bottom of my heart, I hope everybody is staying safe. And I truly enjoy all of you and appreciate all of you, because this community right here brings everyone all together. I'm just more rambling on, but please be safe. Thank you for listening to The Kramer Show. I've been Kramer. This has been The Kramer Show.